Dear friends, we have often heard the saying, food is the medicine of tomorrow. But did you know that certain foods, although reputed to be healthy, can be a real poison for the body, especially in old age? Imagine that every bite you take can either nourish your body or accelerate its aging. Health is not simply the absence of disease. It is a state of complete well-being, physical, mental, and social. Before diving into this essential topic, think for a moment. Have you ever considered that the vegetables you eat daily could be responsible for many ailments? Today, we will explore 10 vegetables you should never eat, especially as we age. Blackcurrant, this fruit with powerful aromas and vibrant color, is often seen as an ally in our diets. It is full of vitamins, particularly vitamin C and many antioxidants which seem to make it a star among fruits. But what many people don't know is that behind its apparent benevolence, blackcurrant hides a danger, especially for the elderly. As we age, our bodies change, they become more fragile, and certain foods that we have long considered beneficial can suddenly turn into silent enemies. Blackcurrant, with its nutritional properties, is a perfect example of this paradox. Although rich in potassium and antioxidants, it can also contain high levels of substances like oxalates. These, in large quantities, can cause the formation of kidney stones, a painful and potentially dangerous condition, particularly for seniors whose kidneys are already more vulnerable. You may have already tasted blackcurrant in syrup, jam, or even as a simple fruit, and had the feeling that this little fruit, both tangy and sweet, gave your body what it needed. But have you ever thought about what that same blackcurrant could cause inside your body, where it needs the most care? Health is the wealth that we only measure when lost. This proverb particularly resonates when discussing foods like blackcurrant. Indeed, as long as we do not suffer, we often forget to consider the potential impact of what we ingest. However, it is important to remember that our well-being is never guaranteed. It depends on how carefully we choose our foods, especially when they have the potential to harm our health. Take a moment to think. Have you ever felt pain in your kidneys? These shooting pains, which sometimes appear for no obvious reason, can be a sign of kidney problems. If you've also had leg cramps or stomach pain after eating certain foods, this could be your body's warning sign. These pains should not be taken lightly. They could be the result of oxalate buildup in your system, especially if you regularly eat potassium-rich foods like blackcurrants. The consequences of oxalate overload may be silent at first, but they become more and more evident over time. It is therefore essential to understand the invisible risks hidden behind certain foods, even those considered beneficial. And blackcurrant is one of them. Behind every bite, there can be unintended consequences, especially for those of us who are getting older. Have you ever taken a moment to evaluate the effects that certain foods have on you? Or are you still in this habit of consuming them without thinking about it? Blackcurrant, despite its innocent appearances, can be a trap if you don't pay attention to how your body reacts. If you're not sure what's happening to you, don't ignore the signs your body is sending you. Kidney pain, muscle cramps, or even digestive irritation can be the first symptoms of an imbalance. And in these moments, it is essential to remember that your body is speaking to you. What may seem trivial at first glance could turn into a major problem if you don't listen. Be careful with what you consume. Don't let a simple habit keep you from living a healthier, more balanced life. You deserve to feel good, not only now, but for years to come. Take care of your body, because it is the only one you have. 2. Spinach. Spinach, this vibrant green vegetable, is often seen as one of our health's best allies. Full of vitamins A, C, K, as well as iron and folate, spinach comes to our tables with the promise of nourishing and strengthening our body. It has even been declared a superfood in many cultures due to its proven health benefits, particularly for the heart and skin. But behind its tender leaves and fresh taste hides a discreet enemy for the elderly: oxalic acid. This compound, naturally present in spinach, as in other green leafy vegetables, may seem innocuous. However, for those who age, it becomes a significant risk factor. For what? Because as we age, our kidneys become more sensitive and less efficient in eliminating toxins and excess minerals. Oxalic acid, when ingested in large quantities, combines with calcium in the body to form crystals that can turn into kidney stones, a condition many seniors experience. Wisdom is knowing how to recognize what is good and choosing what is truly beneficial. This proverb reminds us that in the world of nutrition, all that glitters is not necessarily gold. Although spinach seems to be an essential vegetable in our healthy diets, its excessive consumption can, for some people, lead to serious complications. And it's not always obvious, because symptoms related to kidney stones often develop slowly, sometimes without obvious prior signs. What may seem like a simple discomfort could turn out to be a much deeper problem. The sharp pains that we sometimes feel in the kidneys, these sensations of blockages or heaviness, can be warning signs. But are you ready to admit that foods that you have long considered harmless may be responsible for these inconveniences? What should we do when a food commonly recommended for its nutritional richness could actually become a threat to our long-term well-being? Do you think the oxalic acid in spinach could be the cause of the kidney problems you are experiencing? Maybe you've gotten into the habit of eating it every week, convinced that it's good for your health. However, as we age, our ability to process certain substances changes. What may have once been safe for you can now put a strain on your kidneys. This does not mean that we should give up spinach permanently, but that we must be more aware of the impact of its consumption. It is essential to educate yourself and recognize that what may seem beneficial at first glance could have more profound consequences than we imagine. Have you ever had kidney pain? These feelings of discomfort, sometimes irregular but persistent, may be a sign of an overload of oxalates in your system. It's not always easy to detect, but if you often feel tired, have digestive difficulties after a spinach-heavy meal, or suffer from lower back pain, it may be time to take a closer look at your eating habits. Don't let the appearance of a food hide the dangers it carries. This advice invites us to always question our certainties, even those regarding healthy foods. The aging of the body requires greater vigilance and attentive listening to what it tells us. It's not just a matter of what we eat, but also how we react to the foods we eat. So before you fill your plate with spinach again, take a moment to think. Do you have a history of kidney problems? And if you don't have one, are you willing to consider that even a seemingly harmless vegetable could be leaving an invisible but potentially dangerous imprint on your body? It's time to become more aware of the effects of each food, of each choice, and to adapt your diet to the specific needs of your changing body. Having a good diet is essential, but a diet adapted to our individual needs is even more so. Pay attention to your body's signals and remember that sometimes the most innocent foods can hide invisible risks. 3. Potatoes. The potato, the simple and humble vegetable, has survived the ages to become a comfort food in many cultures. Who has never enjoyed creamy mash, crispy fries, or cheese gratin? The smell of a potato baking in the oven or fried in oil is a familiar, comforting, almost soothing scent. For many, it is a staple, a symbol of comfort food, of conviviality, of a time when simplicity nourished the soul. But behind its modest appearance and comforting taste lies a much more complex reality, especially for seniors. Although potatoes are rich in essential nutrients like vitamin C, potassium and fiber, they are also extremely high in carbohydrates, especially in the form of starch. This may seem harmless at first glance, but for older people it poses a real challenge to their health. The main problem is the high glycemic index of potatoes, which can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar. These sugar spikes, although they may seem harmless, are actually a hidden threat. When a food with a high glycemic index is consumed, such as potatoes, it causes a rapid rise in blood sugar levels, followed by a sudden drop. This process puts considerable strain on the pancreas, which must secrete large amounts of insulin to handle this excess sugar. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, a key contributor to type 2 diabetes. For those of us who age, this mechanism becomes increasingly problematic. Additionally, constant fluctuations in blood sugar can have devastating effects on cardiovascular health. Studies have shown that poor blood sugar control can damage blood vessels, increasing the risk of heart disease, hypertension, and other circulatory conditions. For older people who are already more likely to suffer from heart problems, potatoes can be an aggravating factor. This simple food, which many consider harmless, thus becomes a real hidden poison, which can seriously harm your health in the long term. The wise heart chooses what is nourishing for the soul, not just the palate. This quote invites us to go beyond the immediate pleasure of eating a comfort food and to consider the long-term consequences on our body and mind. Choosing what is truly beneficial requires wisdom, a wisdom that goes beyond the mere pleasure of the mouth and encompasses the balance of the body as a whole. If we constantly give in to the urge to eat starchy foods, like potatoes, to fill an immediate need, we risk harming our future health, often without even realizing it. Have you ever thought about the impact of these sugar spikes on your body? Do you think that a vegetable as simple as potatoes could be responsible for diseases as serious as diabetes or heart disease? Sometimes we fall into the habit of consuming these starchy foods for their comforting effect, without considering the long-term effects. We feel this instinctive need for satiety, this feeling of immediate satisfaction. But is this comfort really what it seems? Maybe you've ever wondered why you feel tired or lethargic after a heavy meal of potatoes. These sugar spikes, followed by energy drops, are often the underlying cause of this lack of energy. When your body constantly experiences these fluctuations, it becomes more difficult to maintain a stable energy balance. The momentary comfort you feel is fleeting, and it can quickly turn into a burden. It is essential to rethink our relationship with these seemingly harmless foods. Maybe it's time to take a step back and ask the question: what truly nourishes my body and mind? Are my food choices, based on traditions and habits, really in harmony with the health that I seek to maintain in the long term? It is an invitation to question these choices and to seek a balance between pleasure and well-being. So before serving potatoes at your table, ask yourself if this choice is really beneficial to your health or just a fleeting pleasure. Every bite is an opportunity to not only nourish your body, but also to be wise in your food choices, to preserve your long-term health. 4. Tomatoes. Tomatoes, as this juicy and vibrant fruit, are an essential element in many cuisines around the world. Whether in a salad, a sauce, or even just sliced, tomatoes seem to be a harmless and beneficial food, loaded with vitamins and antioxidants. They are often praised for their richness in vitamin C, their low-calorie content, and their benefits for the skin and the immune system. However, for older people, the reality can be very different. Although tomatoes are nutritious, they also contain compounds called solanines. These substances, found naturally in tomatoes and other members of the nightshade family, like potatoes and eggplant, can have negative effects on some people, especially those who suffer from acid reflux or digestive issues. When these vegetables are consumed in excess, solanine can irritate the stomach linings, exacerbate inflammation, and make the digestive system even more sensitive, particularly as we age. As we age, our bodies undergo changes that affect the functioning of our organs, including our digestive system. It becomes more difficult for our stomachs to process certain foods and deal with the acids it produces. What was once easy and quick digestion can become more complicated and uncomfortable. Tomatoes, although they seem beneficial at first glance, can become an aggravating factor for those who are already vulnerable to digestive disorders, such as gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, heartburn, or bloating. Listen to your body. It speaks to you every moment. This proverb highlights the importance of being attentive to the signs that our body sends us. When you experience pain or discomfort after eating tomatoes, it should not be ignored. These symptoms are your body's way of telling you that it doesn't like certain foods. These signals are invitations to change your diet and take care of your health. If you've noticed that you frequently experience heartburn after a meal containing tomatoes, you may be more sensitive to their acidic effect. As tomatoes age, the acidity can be particularly irritating, causing a burning sensation in the chest or discomfort in the stomach. This phenomenon may become more common over time as the stomach loses its protective stomach acid and becomes less able to neutralize acidic foods. Do you often get heartburn after eating tomatoes? Maybe it's not just a coincidence. If this becomes more common as you get older, your digestive system may no longer tolerate tomatoes the way it used to. Your body speaks to you, and it's crucial to listen to what it tells you. Tomatoes, which once seemed so natural and beneficial, can become irritants that harm your digestive comfort. Tomatoes are, arguably, one of the most consumed vegetables in the world, and yet their effect on the human body is rarely discussed. However, they can cause stomach aches, acid reflux, or even abdominal pain. If you suffer from these symptoms after eating tomatoes, it may be helpful to reduce their consumption and see if your digestion improves. Sometimes, the most natural foods can actually be the most insidious for digestive health. It is important not to ignore these signs, because in the long term, poor diet management can harm your quality of life. Every little discomfort, every heartburn, is an invitation to evaluate your food choices. Your body doesn't lie. It guides you to maintain balance and preserve your well-being. Tomatoes may not be the problem for everyone, but if they're affecting your digestive system, it's time to reconsider their place on your plate. So before adding tomatoes to your next dish, ask yourself if they are really beneficial for your health at this particular moment. Your body, with its intricacies and changing needs, deserves to be listened to carefully. Don't let a seemingly innocuous food cause inconvenience that in the long term could affect your comfort and well-being. 5. Eggplants. Eggplant, with its shiny skin and majestic appearance, is a vegetable often associated with Mediterranean cuisine, a symbol of refinement and sophistication. Its purple hue and fleshy texture make it a must for tasty dishes and succulent gratins. But behind this elegant and appetizing appearance, eggplant hides risks that few know about, especially for those who suffer from joint problems such as arthritis. Eggplant is a member of the nightshade family, which also includes tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers. These vegetables contain chemical compounds called solanines, which are naturally produced to defend the plant against pests and diseases. Although these solanines are generally not harmful in small amounts, they can cause adverse reactions in people with particular sensitivities. And among these, joint pain and inflammation are the most common. For those of us who are aging and may suffer from conditions like arthritis, eggplant can become an aggravating factor. Arthritis is an inflammatory disease that affects the joints, and the solanines found in eggplant can intensify this inflammation. Small amounts of solanine can stimulate an immune system response, exacerbating joint pain and stiffness. If you eat eggplant regularly, you may notice that your joint pain gets worse after a meal. What you eat today will shape your tomorrow. This quote reminds us that our food choices are not only about immediate pleasure, but also about planning for our future health. What we eat today shapes how we live tomorrow, and every food we choose can have a profound and lasting impact on our well-being. Eating eggplant today may seem harmless, but if this vegetable contributes to worsening joint pain tomorrow, it is time to reconsider its place in our diet. Do you experience joint pain that gets worse after certain meals? These pains, which often appear after eating certain foods, may be a sign that your body is reacting to the solanines found in eggplant. The stiffness and pain that follows may not be due to mere coincidence, but a biological mechanism in response to an overload of inflammation. If you suffer from arthritis, every food you eat can have a direct impact on your joint comfort. This could be linked to foods like eggplant. Although this vegetable appears to offer nutritional benefits and is rich in fiber and antioxidants, its ability to irritate joints should not be overlooked. Solanines, even in small amounts, can cause adverse effects on the body, and eggplant is one of them. You may not have made the connection between what you eat and the joint pain that appears after each meal. However, if you observe a link between the two, it might be wise to moderate your consumption of this vegetable. Take a moment to think about your diet and how it might affect your long-term health. Every mouthful we ingest is not just a source of nutrition, it also plays a role in managing our well-being. As we age, it becomes essential to be aware of the impact of each food we choose to consume. If a seemingly healthy food like eggplant can take a toll on your joints, maybe it's time to look at it from a different perspective. Eggplants may seem harmless, even beneficial, but for those who are sensitive to their effects, they can turn into a source of pain. Listen to your body, it speaks to you every moment. If you experience worsening joint pain after eating eggplant, it may be time to consider eliminating it or consuming it in very small quantities. You deserve a pain-free life, and sometimes that starts with simple adjustments in what you put on your plate. 6. Corn. Although rich in fiber and antioxidants, corn is sometimes too difficult for older adults to digest, which can cause bloating, gas, and even abdominal pain. Seniors who eat whole grains, such as corn, need to pay attention to how their bodies respond to this vegetable. Patience is the key to all healing. Have you noticed that your corn-based meals leave you feeling uncomfortable? Maybe your digestive system has changed over the years. 7. Onions. Onions can, in some cases, irritate the stomach and cause acid reflux, especially when eaten raw. In seniors, this problem can become more and more common as the digestive system becomes less efficient. He who eats in conscience eats in harmony. After eating onions, do you feel bloated or have acid reflux? Your body speaks to you. Are you listening? 8. Legumes. Legumes, while extremely nutritious, can be difficult for older adults to digest and can lead to gas and bloating. These digestive disorders may become more common as we age and can interfere with daily comfort. Anything in excess harms the balance. Have you ever suffered from bloating after eating lentils or chickpeas? Do you often get up with stomach pain? 9. Peppers. Although they are an excellent source of vitamin C, peppers can worsen stomach problems in seniors, especially those with gastroesophageal reflux disease. Their acidity can cause stomach irritation. Balance in everything is the essence of health. Questions. Do you have stomach pain after eating peppers? Have you felt them more with age? 10. Cabbages. A strong vegetable, but too large for the body. Cabbages, especially collard greens and kale, can create gas and bloating in older adults. They are also difficult for fragile intestines to digest. There is no greater treasure than knowing and listening to your own body. Questions. Do you experience digestive discomfort after eating cabbage? Do you feel like it's not as easy to digest as before? We've gone through these 10 vegetables, and it's essential to take a step back and think about what you're eating. As the saying goes, what we eat today shapes who we will be tomorrow. The decisions you make today will impact your future well-being. So, dear friends, what will you choose? What eating habits will you change to improve your health and promote a long and fulfilling life? Inner transformation begins with a conscious choice in food. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video so that others can benefit from these valuable tips. May peace and health accompany you.